Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and I'm once again joined by Eric,
Julia.
who's going by the alias of Julia.
This is
And
our uh,
we're back for our Gone Too Soon segment of Dark Shadows, the 1991 revival series of the original. And today we are talking about episodes 2 and 3. So I will roll the credits and we'll get right into it. So this time I actually took pretty in-depth notes because now I know who the characters are, like their names, and I can kind of like listen and take notes.
I was gonna say these are pretty Julia-centric episodes.
Yeah.
To find out a lot about her.
A lot happened in just
Hmm.
and I'm really into it. I think I'm hooked.
Yeah, these really move. A lot does happen.
So Victoria Winters is still narrating at the beginning of episode 2,
Mm.
and she mentions that Barnabas has riveting eyes. Dr. Michael brings Daphne a cross to wear for the evening,
Hmm.
just to see what happens.
And Dr. Michael is Dude from the previous one.
Right. I was like, okay, now I have a name. Now I know who you are.
Right. I don't remember them saying it that much in the first part
Yeah.
because I didn't catch it.
I also took note, like, while the opening credits opened, which, by the way, now that you're watching the original, do you see how similar they are?
Hmm.
um I did take
Except
note.
we get faces in the credits on this one.
Yeah, but like the the
Hmm.
the water hitting up against the
The
rock.
water hitting. Right, right.
um so after the credits aired, like, the produced, written by credits that run as the opening scene's happening,
Hmm.
I did notice it said hour 1 written by and hour 2, so I'm like, did they do 2 weeks in a row that were like an hour and a half episode?
Hmm.
Because I
No,
also
it started as a 4-hour miniseries, so I think they aired it as one part and then two parts. But when they put it into syndication and put it on VHS, they separated the second part for some reason, but not the first.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Apparently.
So, and then they ordered it to series, like a 13, well, up to 13 episodes or 12.
I guess I don't know how they did it exactly back then, but I know that's how they air them.
Huh.
Yeah, it's weird.
I didn't know that. Um, so Daphne's been moved to the first floor because of her last incident, sleepwalking. Um, Daphne asked Joe to promise they'll always be together, and I'm like,
Um,
that means something's about to happen.
yep.
Uh, Julia wonders if Michael believes whoever attacked Daphne will come back, and he says he doesn't have a choice. And a cop and Joe are taking shifts watching over Daphne while she
Yeah.
slept.
I have Deputy. I didn't catch his name either. I just said Deputy and Joe.
He did say his name, but like I was like, I'm not writing his name. I already put cop.
Yeah, he's not totally important, I don't think.
Um, Barnabas seems to be compelling Joe to fall asleep so that he gets to Daphne. And
Yeah. Okay.
I use the term compelling because that's what they use on the Vampire Diaries. Like when
Oh,
you're
okay.
like, hypnotize somebody to do something, it's compulsion, they call it. So I'm just like,
I
I'm
put
compelling.
I put Barnabas making creepy faces wakes Stephanie.
Scrunching his face.
He's like,
um,
funny.
so Daphne wakes up and she pulls the cross off her neck immediately.
Hmm.
She walks outside to Barnabas and she exposes her bite wound. And then they start kissing sexually because that was very intense kissing.
I
Very.
guess it's a sexual thing, I guess, for vampires.
It is, but I was like, this aired on NBC. It felt more like Cinemax.
You couldn't handle it.
It's too hot for prime time.
In 1991, yeah.
Right. I couldn't believe it. Um, and he ends up biting her again. Same.
Mhm.
I was about to get real dirty. I was gonna say same holes. Why make holes?
Well, why create new holes if you can avoid it?
Easy access. They're already there.
Exactly.
This got really dirty. Joe wakes up to find Daphne gone, and he wakes up the cop, and they go running to find her.
Out
But
to a graveyard? Was it a graveyard out there?
I guess like the family crypt must be on the premises.
Yeah, it was. It looked like a graveyard to me.
Um, they find her, and I originally wrote unconscious because I thought this was just going to be like an ongoing thing, but apparently she was dead because next thing you know- oh, and
Is she gone?
I also put drizzled with blood because it looked like there was just like somebody drizzled blood on her.
Yeah, like I was curious. I wonder how he. So if he did use the same wounds, do you think he just kind of like shook his face and like it was sprinkled all over her body?
Like a wet dog when they like get wet and they just
Right? Like, how did she get covered with blood? Like, I thought, like, I don't know. That was a lot.
yeah. You know it was a lot. The rain. I was like, did they really film this outside? Because that rain was very aggressive.
What,
It was just
at the funeral?
buckets. I was like, was this really necessary, or did they not have control over this because it actually was raining?
Yeah, I know. Well, I think that's the only time it rained is the funeral, of course.
It was very aggressive.
It was.
Um, Julia is going over Daphne's last blood samples, and she tells Michael she was developing a vaccine to fight off the cells found in Daphne. Michael asks Julia if she believes in vampires, and Julia wonders if the vaccine she was working on could possibly cure vampirism.
This is real quick, isn't it? Like, I feel like it would take me at least 5 episodes to think it's a vampire
Yeah,
in real life.
everybody was just like really accepting that like this vampire did this. Oh, okay. Like they're just like they're crosses. I
You
was
think
just
it's,
yeah.
you think
Nobody
it's vampires? Sure, yeah. That sounds great. Yeah.
like they were like she might come back tonight, and they were like, oh, okay, we gotta wear our crosses. I'm like, what? We're all just so excited. Um, David is playing with a ball, chanting, if he catches this one, Daphne's not dead."
Oh, that was sad.
He runs home when he sees it getting dark, and he hears a woman calling his name, and he sees Daphne. He goes up to her at first, and she says she won't hurt him, and reveals her vampire teeth and chases him.
She looks hot. Everybody looks hot as a vampire.
They usually everybody,
Right?
everybody gets all sexed up when they're a vampire.
They do. They do. It's so funny. You never see like a zombie looking vampire like you'd think you'd see. Like she just came out of the crypt. You think she'd be like, "Ah."
Because I think that's part of the allure of vampires. They're supposed to be able to seduce you and like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. She
Um,
looked great though.
David runs inside screaming, saying he saw her, and the family thinks he's pulling a prank. Well, Roger does.
Of course.
But Michael asks him where he saw her. Joe tries to calm him down by saying, sometimes I see her too because he misses her so much. And he wants to go for a walk. Michael tells Joe to be careful, and he says, "Of what, ghosts?" And
Kinda.
Michael suggests opening Daphne's grave to see if David is telling the truth.
Right? I'm like, would you do that right away? I'd be like, I don't know. He's a kid. I'd be like, no.
I know, it's like, because for us, I'm like,
Although,
how long has it been? 24 hours? Like, 12 hours?
and then Roger walked out, so he didn't fall for it. He was like, yeah, whatever, I'm out. So he's the only one that didn't seem to believe it.
Right. Michael suggests, I already said that. David is I already said that.
Sorry.
He's Michael says he believes she was attacked by a vampire and walks as one of the living dead.
Right.
He warns Joe he might be one of the people she seeks out most because of their relationship. Joe walks to the Collins crypt, to Daphne's spot in the crypt, and is startled by her presence. She bites him, and the next we see, he's in the house hooked up to a blood bag and having a traumatized reaction to what happened to him.
Thank God Julia's still around, right? She really gets her work cut out for her.
The sheriff has put a curfew on the entire town. And Roger goes to that bar, the whale you were talking about.
Yeah, the something.
Something whale. We can never remember.
What is that? And it's in the old series too. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, you texted me.
I started watching the old series, and it's the blue whale. I forget.
That sounds
I think
good.
it's the blue whale. Yeah, the blue whale. Got it.
So Roger goes there to ask Maggie to come up to Collinswood because Caroline wants to see her.
Liar.
She wonders what Caroline wants, and he says it's what he wants. And next thing we know, they're having sex. And my next note is sweaty nipples because she was in a white shirt, she was sweaty, and I was like, I could see her tits. And this is supposed to be.
Yes.
I was like, how did this get past the censor?
Yeah, right? It was a good year.
I was like, I can see her areolas.
You sure could.
It was like a wet t-shirt contest.
And then when they wake up, Maggie says she thinks it could be a vampire, correct?
Yeah, because
But
Roger wonders what Maggie thinks is going on, and she says she thinks it's a vampire, and that it's only the beginning.
And we kind of find out Maggie has some kind of something, like a sense of something or some kind of psychic abilities.
Yeah, they showed her looking
But
at
we're not right, but we're not exactly sure what she had.
Barnabas visits Collinswood to send his regards regarding Daphne. He says
This is a cool scene.
he was in Boston on business during the funeral. They tell him they don't know where Daphne is, but they suspect she will show up since Joe is there. So this is now everybody's like, oh yeah, no, she's a vampire.
Yep.
We're just
See her
waiting.
soon.
They offer Barnabas to stay there for his safety, but he declines, and Julia notices that Barnabas doesn't have a reflection.
Wasn't that a cool scene? That was a neat shot.
Yeah.
I like that.
Because like you see her like noticing it, and she's like trying to hold it in, and she's like, wait a minute.
And why the hell, like, what, she just found out about this vampire situation, that it could be a vampire. Yeah, and she sees this, and why wouldn't she be like, yeah, he doesn't have a reflection. Like, what's up? Like, I feel like, what, look at everybody. Like, like she just somehow keeps it a secret. Why? She's very interesting.
Maybe based off of the fact that these people are being attacked, she doesn't want to alarm them and like have him just like go nuts in the house and attack everybody.
That's fair. That is fair.
Joe wakes up and rips the IV out of his arm.
As they all do.
He attacks the cop watching him from behind and sneaks out of the house shirtless and sexy.
I know, he is a hottie.
Greg was even like, oh, he was sexy. I'm like, yeah. I don't know how Greg knows him, but he knows him.
There was a show called The Pretender he did after this, and you might know him from that. He did it for like 5-6 years.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
He runs to Daphne, and basically it's a replay of what Daphne did with Barnabas. It's just very sexual. And
yeah.
she ends up biting him. A cop finds her feeding on Joe, and he and more cops surround her with silver crosses. And then Joe tries to protect her, but the cops pull him away, and Michael arrives and hammers a stake into her chest.
This goes so it goes so quick. I'm like,
It was
and
very,
this is the second episode, people. So you can only imagine what else is coming.
because like okay, yeah, a lot happened. Because I'm thinking, okay, she died, but now she's a vampire, so maybe she's just gonna be a vampire for the rest of the series, not get
Mm-mm.
dead in the same episode.
And she wasn't in the credits. If you're not in the credits, you're pretty much a goner eventually.
Oh, she wasn't. I didn't even realize that.
No, she's not in the credits.
That makes some fun.
She's in the guest starring
They
part.
weren't. Yeah, they weren't gonna kill off our series regular
Exactly.
unless your name is what's her name from Twin Peaks? Like I know we always bring up Twin Peaks now when we talk about this.
Cheryl Lee.
Yeah, Cheryl Lee's character.
Yeah.
Um, so Julia plans to confront Barnabas in his lair at sunset.
Because why not? He ain't
Right.
gonna do anything, right? Not a vampire.
Be vulnerable in his own place. She's got this look about her. She kind of reminds me of like a Tim Burton actress, like someone from like one of his movies. She's startled by Willie, which I was like, oh, I wonder if we're gonna see Willie in this episode.
I love Willie.
And he tries to get her to leave to protect her.
Of course.
And she tries to get Willie to admit that Barnabas will be there at sunset.
And she blows him off and pushes past them. He's like, stop, no. And she's like, just keeps going.
Yeah, she sees a
Like,
door and she wonders where it leads to. And it leads basically down to the basement.
honestly, I think it would have been, yeah, right. I think it would have been cooler if she like just punched him out. Like, and be like, damn, this bitch means business.
Willie tries to stop her from opening the door, but he can't, and she goes down the stairs.
Hmm.
And she immediately opens Barnabas's coffin, like she knows exactly where to go.
And like, oh, this is him.
She holds a cross in his face, and he tells her to put it away, and he won't hurt her.
What a shitty way to wake up for Barnabas. Like,
right?
what the fuck?
Talk about being cranky.
Poor guy.
She says she needs to talk to him, and he says he already gave her his word, so put it away. Like he says it very aggressive. Willie tries to defend himself for letting her get past him, and he's told he'll be dealt with later. And I'm like, oh,
another beat,
his ass.
another beat down.
Greg was like, is he gonna fuck him? And I'm like, I don't know.
Probably if it were the Vampire Diaries, that might happen.
If it was True Blood, it would happen.
Oh yeah, True Blood, yes.
Julia tells Barnabas that she thinks she can help him live a normal life, and that's something he would love to have. He agrees to let her help him and asks when shall they begin. So that was a very eventful episode.
Yeah, so I'm guessing she wants clout, like because she's a doctor. Maybe she's like, if I can cure. I mean, well, first of all, I guess everybody believes vampires are real. So there's. So what is she gonna go on like Good Morning America and be like, I cured a vampire. That's what's up,
They'll like some characters are like, what are you talking about? You're crazy for like a minute, and then once they get proof, they're like, oh yeah, no, vampires fully exist.
Right.
But yeah, it seems very, very fast. And now that I know it was a miniseries, I wonder if that's why.
Yeah, and it makes me want to know more about Julia because I want to know more about like what would make her like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my ass wouldn't be going after a vampire if I was a doctor. I'd be like, fuck that guy. I would tell everybody and leave town. I'd be like, that fucker's a vampire. I didn't see him in the mirror. Peace out. That would be me. I'm out of here. Good luck. God bless. Bye-bye.
What's interesting is Daphne was wearing a cross, and he was able to compel her to take the cross off. Usually,
Right.
in other stories, I would think the cross would stop her from being able to be compelled, because that's like her protection.
Right.
But I guess not.
I know. I don't know.
Old rules don't apply here. You just got to go with what they're telling you.
Right. And I
uh,
guess she wasn't a vampire at that point. He only got, I guess he had to fully kill her before she became one.
yeah,
But
it,
she was like really,
that way. Like even with Joe, she bit him first, and then she kind of had to like lure him. So it's like, okay, do you have to bite them, and then maybe like the vampire poison or cells is in your system, and then they have to
right,
feed on you, and you become a vampire?
like how he controls Willie too. Like he only bit him, so he didn't kill him. So he's just kind of controlled.
Yeah, I don't know.
Although Willie never really does what he's supposed to.
Every
But which is,
every show's different. A a lot of the shows have it where like they bite you, but then you also have to drink their blood, and it's like a mix.
right, right. I've seen that in stuff too.
Yeah,
Movies mainly.
yeah. They did that on Vampire Diaries, and they did that on Buffy also. But Buffy, they
Yes.
beat you, you drink their blood, then you had to be buried and then rise. It was like the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, but the next episode, Julia wants to know if Barnabas can fight his urges,
Mm.
and he says if he couldn't, she wouldn't be standing there right now.
Right.
So she injects him with a serum, and he's in excruciating pain for about a minute, and then he feels fine.
Yeah.
She has his blood samples divided into 12 different vials, and she places one in the sun, which boils and causes the vial to burst. Now, the minute that thing was in the sun, I was like, that's going to burst at some point. I knew it.
Yeah, well, she's still working on this, Sarah. It can't be perfect right away. It's only episode 3.
Barnabas and Victoria seem to be out on a date. She runs off and he chases after her, and he remembers Josette.
It's a flashback.
And it appears Josette was running from Barnabas and jumped off the cliff. She didn't fall.
Hmm. Well, yeah, I guess she saw who it appears that she saw who he truly was, and she was afraid of him and
Yeah.
basically ran and jumped off. Yeah.
And
But I don't know if that's exactly what happened.
he tells Victoria how dangerous the cliffs are, and like how many people have died over the years on these cliffs, and how even some sailors' wives have like jumped to be with their husbands who like were lost at sea or whatever. And she
Yikes.
asks him if this is where Josette dies, and he like confirms that's where Josette
Hmm.
fell to her death, we'll say.
Yeah.
um Oh, so David is having a nightmare. He's being attacked by vampire Caroline, Daphne, and Victoria.
Yeah, that was sad. So David is Roger's son,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
But no mother around.
Yeah, I don't know who his mother is.
Okay. Because I'm trying to think in the original series, I thought Carolyn was his mom, but I can't remember now.
But Caroline almost, not that it would matter on a TV show, but she almost looks like she's too young for Roger. Like she looks like she's like late teens, early 20s, maybe.
Maggie looks too young for him too, but not, I guess, that much. Maybe like 10 years, 15 years.
The fact the fact that they're having a secret affair almost makes it seem like he's married.
Mm.
So I don't know. But
I,
Caroline seems to be sweet for Joe, because she was a little touchy feely. So
yeah,
I don't really know.
like she wanted a piece. I
Yeah,
mean, it's hot.
your cousin or whoever she was to you just died, and now you're like macking on his man.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to discuss. Like, what is the family relations here? So we got Elizabeth, who's what? Roger's sister?
I don't know.
I know, I don't think we find out relations. Like I
The
think
only
it's
one I know
Roger's
for
sister.
sure is because she calls Barnabas cousin Barnabas. That's why I know they're cousins.
Right. And so he's cousin, and then like Carolyn and Daphne are cousins, we think, maybe.
I assume
And
maybe sisters.
yeah,
Who knows?
they're not really good with that. Like I almost feel like we need like how Days treat you like you're an idiot sometimes. It's like, oh, hey sis, like stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
what I need. I need this here so I know what's happening. I'm like, I need to know these relations because they all live in the same house.
The only really clear one is that David is Roger's son. That's pretty much it.
Yes, and then Joe is living in the house, or was he not? I don't know. I'm confused with that too.
I'm confused with that too because Daphne's dead. So like any ties he would have had to that family is gone, and they're still letting him stay there while he recovers.
I'm gonna have to look this up. And then I wonder if it's the same in the original series too. Like if all the relations are like the current ones are related the same way they are in the past or in the original series. I'll have to look it up. I'll get back to you, people.
So David is later outside playing, and he makes his way into the Collins crypt, and he's startled by a ghost, Sarah, who we know is Barnabas's younger sister.
Yes.
She assures him Daphne is gone for good this time. She says ashes to ashes, dust to dust. That Daphne's now ashes and dust.
Yeah.
She basically tells him that someone he knows is in danger, or I didn't really catch what she said, but she won't say who, and he goes chasing after her and she disappears. And David's like,
Yeah.
Who?
And we don't know.
So Barnabas has not fed in over 2 months. So this one episode has been a 2-month span. And his blood is becoming more resistant to the sun.
Yes.
It's not exploding right away now. It still gets there, but it takes a little longer.
Yeah.
I watched Pot Doesn't Boil.
Right.
The injection seemed to be less painful also, so he's becoming more human, and even turning gray, his hair.
Mm-hmm.
And he now has a reflection that he hasn't seen in over 2 centuries.
That was funny.
When he was like, I thought I'd be taller.
Yeah. And he tells Willie he wants a mirror in every room.
The way Willie looks at him, though, it's almost like he loves him so much. He's just like so happy for him.
Well, he's trans, right? So
Right.
I guess he kind of does.
Michael wonders why Julia is still in town, and she says she's still treating Joe. And he says he thinks it's because despite her protests, she thinks the vampire will strike again.
Well, remember in the last scene too, remember Julia thanks, or Barnabas like says he'll thank Julia or whatever, and he like ripped her kind of. I feel like there's a connection there. I feel like she's almost maybe kind of falling for him. I think that was what that was supposed to mean.
Oh, I thought he was. I thought he was going to kiss her in that scene. Not in a romantic way, just like as a thank you.
I remember something happening. I don't remember when in the series, but I know that she kind of is falling for him, and I feel like this is the first sign of that. So she starts becoming a little bit edgier.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see.
Michael says there are still 3 unsolved murders, and there's only one new person in town that has never been seen during the light of day. And he says Barnabas.
Shit. Busted him real quick. Although I guess it's been 3 months, technically.
Yeah.
Took him a while, I guess.
So it's been 3 months and Joe is still traumatized from the thing? And staying at a house that's not his family.
I don't know.
Victoria and Barnabas are getting hot and heavy. Another very sexual moment, but not blood sucking. But, his vampirism starts to kick in, and he pushes her away, and he turns away from her.
I felt so bad for him.
He asks her to leave. He says Willie will escort her back to Collinswood. Um, Julia comes by and Willie fills her in on what happened with that incident. And Barnabas demands the final injection so that he may walk in the day for the first time in 200 years.
Mhm.
He demands Willie opens the drapes, and Barnabas feels his blood warming. And they have, I guess, as like a precaution, they have a vial of blood in the sun to see when it starts to boil.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so it does start to boil, and Julia wants Willie to shut the blinds, but Barnabas like demands that he doesn't
Right.
until he starts to like clutch over in like pain, and then she lights.
Shut the fucking blinds, Willie. God damn it.
Um,
And then she beats him. I'm kidding.
can you imagine? She had a whip. She looks like
Poor Willie, just a whipping boy.
she looks like she could be a madam or something.
She does.
The cops end up showing up with Michael and Roger, I think.
Hmm.
And they want to speak to Barnabas, but Willie says that it's early in the morning and he's not feeling well. And then Julia comes in and she kind of confirms that he's sick. But Barnabas appears at the top of the stairs, and he's like, "Why are you here at this hour? It's so early. I did not expect visitors. I'm not feeling well, clearly." And Michael thinks that maybe some sunlight would help him.
Right.
So then Barnabas walks in front of a window where the sun's beaming in, and he stands there for a little bit, and he's clearly like quivering in pain, but he proves that he's not going to burst into dust.
Right.
And Julia's had enough. She's like, "I'm done with this. Get the fuck out of here. I have to bring my kid to bed."
Yeah.
And Willie brings him back to bed, or his coffin. Who knows where.
Somewhere.
Where am I? Michael ends up going by Collinswood to see Julia, and he snoops around her office / lab space. And he finds the blood vials, and he puts it in front of like the window, and it bursts. And he takes like a letter opener or a knife, and he breaks into her desk, and he like takes little snapshots of some of the pages.
Yeah.
But
which at that point he should have just taken the book.
That's what especially since Julia talks to Elizabeth, that's the housekeeper. Who's Willie's.
No, the housekeeper. Elizabeth is whatever the woman of the manor or whatever.
Oh.
The housekeeper is Willie's aunt, but I forget her name.
Oh, so that wasn't the housekeeper; it was Elizabeth. I don't know. It was an old woman.
Yeah, it was Elizabeth.
And she basically confirms that Michael was there to speak to her, and she's like, "I didn't speak."
Yeah.
Like, I didn't speak to him, and she's like, "Oh, that's weird. He said that he did." So
right.
Like, fuck. So she goes to her and it looks like it's been ruffled through. She sees the blood on the floor from the vial that burst, and her desk drawer is open. Like, if you were like gonna at that point, I was like, if you were just gonna leave it open and make it obvious that you broke in there, why didn't you just take it?
Right.
And you left the blood.
Seriously.
You're messy.
I know, right? I know.
You're a messy criminal.
That's why I thought she was going to go in the drawer and see it was gone, but then it wasn't, and I was like, oh, all right, whatever.
She informs Barnabas that Michael knows, or she suspects he knows because of what her lab looked like. And Barnabas breaks into Michael's place while he's trying to get in touch with the police, I believe.
Yeah.
And he grabs him by the throat.
The end.
The end. So this is another thing I had an issue with, because in most vampire things, you have to be invited into a place. You can't just walk in.
Right.
But I rationalized it in my head that he's becoming human, so maybe that gets lifted, even though I don't really believe that. we'll see.
It's true though. I mean, he has a reflection. That's a big part, you know. So I would assume, yeah, he might not be able to. He could just
Yeah,
come in.
yeah.
But yeah, it's not. Well, you predicted that he wouldn't be around very long, so you were very correct.
I did that. Oh, good for me.
Yeah, you said it in the pilot. I forget what you said, but I remember you said he better watch out or he won't be around long or something. Something in that area.
Yeah, usually people that know too much and are like
Yeah,
a high horse don't last very long.
that's what I thought of when you. When I'm like, oh, he was right. I mean, he wasn't in the credits either. So
Oh,
whoever else isn't in the credits will probably go soon as well.
I gotta pay closer attention to who's in the credits and who's not.
Right? I'm surprised Joe was in the credits because Daphne wasn't, and I'm like that. If Daphne is a Collins, then you would think.
So
I don't know.
you started it from the beginning, or did you start from like when Barnabas appears on the soap opera?
I started from the beginning. I can't start from there. I gotta know characters and stuff. I think it's more fun that way. And right now, I think I'm like 12 episodes in, and I don't know what's happening. Like, I feel like everybody knows some weird shit's going on, but like nothing. There's this one character, I forget his name now, but he hasn't been mentioned at all in this series. So
Okay.
I'm assuming, um, I'm guessing he was pre-Barnabas, and maybe Barnabas kills him, or he dies before that. I don't know. But he seems to be the mysterious character,
Okay.
um, in the original.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember Victoria coming. I remember David being a little offbeat and screaming at her a lot and like
Oh
hiding.
my God, he's worse than this David. Shit, he's a this one's a motherfucker. He's rough.
I remember him like hiding like under her bed or like in her window. And then, like,
Yeah, he does all that.
and I remember him hiding in the basement, I think.
Yeah, like in this, he warmed up to Victoria already, pretty much in this one, and he didn't. And where I'm at, I'm 12 episodes in.
Well,
So yeah,
that's only 2 weeks in soap opera time.
yeah. So we'll see. I
Um,
like it though. I'm liking it.
yeah, I'm liking it. The So for me, I'm not really a big fan of hour-and-a-half pilots. I feel like they drag a little bit because they're trying to get so much information and exposition out that,
Right.
and you're kind of like, who are these characters? What's their name? Like you're just trying to like figure out the world. So I
Right.
definitely liked these 2 episodes more than the pilot because I feel like now I know who everybody is. I'm remembering names. I'm not like the girl, the blonde girl. Like who was that? Like so I kind of like,
Right.
I'm invested now. I'm in it.
We just don't know who's related and why everybody's in the house, which I will find out.
Yeah. Sometimes when we ask these questions, we find out like the next episode. So maybe we'll find out.
That's true. That's true. I would just, yeah, I want to know why they're there. Like, I want to know. Like, I think Roger is Elizabeth's sister or brother. I'm sorry. That would be a twist. But and I don't know how the girls like Daphne and Carolyn. I don't know how they're related. It seems in the original, I think Elizabeth is Carolyn's mom, but
Okay.
I'm not. I don't. I didn't hear her say mom at all in this, right? I don't know.
Maybe Elizabeth and Roger are married, or are they brother and sister?
I think they're brother and sister.
Oh, okay.
I could be no, yeah, because yeah, I don't think so because it's David's, not hers. So I don't know.
Hmm.
I gotta look up the Collins family history. But
Ancestry.net or com and or
yeah, right.
it's so it seems like Victoria kind of took a back seat in these episodes. Like she
Yeah.
was there, but like she didn't really have like her own story except she was dating Barnabas.
Well, my mom, when we originally watched, my mom told me that Julia was a big character in the original series, and I did find out that Victoria leaves the original series and Julia is there. So I'm guessing Julia gets involved with Barnabas when Victoria leaves. in the original series.
Hmm.
Because she leaves in 1969 and she ain't recasted, and it goes on till 71, and then Julia is around. So I don't know if Julia comes during or what the situation is, but
I may have misinterpreted this, but from what I read, it seems like at some point during the original series, they go back in time and like maybe explore the origin of how Barnabas became what he was, or they do like a whole
um,
witch storyline, maybe.
oh, there's a lot coming up. There's a lot, and they do go back in time.
And I almost wondered if a lot of people that were original cast members were let go because they didn't need them because they did like 2 years worth of like prequel story on the
Yeah,
soap
right.
opera.
Yeah, I don't know,
But it's
but
just I never really went too in depth on it because I want to watch it one day, all of it.
well, if you noted, like, did you know, like these episodes, like, they're 50 minutes each, and it feels like they're 20 minutes. Like, I feel like so much happens, and I feel like they go so fast.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to come, and then like I said, there's the past does happen. They go back in the past, and I forget how. And I remember that you can see there's some people in the past and some people in the present, and that's kind of cool too.
Um, I thought it was cool. You had texted me that the actress that's playing Sarah, the little girl,
Yeah.
was on Days of Our Lives. And
Uh-huh.
once you said the name, I was like, oh my god, I know who that is.
Yeah. I forgot about her on dates, so she hasn't been seen since what, 2007, I think. But
Yeah, and
wasn't she Jan's friend? Jan's bitchy friend?
they say 2007. She was only on in 2007 for like a week, if that, because they had the
Okay.
last reunion. So she came back for the high school reunion. That was it. It was like,
Oh,
yeah. Uh,
okay.
but yeah, she was on during the high school years, and she got involved with Philip. They made like a fake sex tape, and that's Chloe
Yeah.
broke up with Philip because she thought they had sex, but they didn't. She was just recording
Yeah, yeah.
her straddling him.
Yeah, I remember that. And then
But
I liked too that both Carolines were in Ryan's Hope. I thought that was interesting. I'm like, that's kind of fun. But in like two totally separate years. Like one was I think 86 to 87 and one was 88 to 89. I'm like,
I
that's
thought
kind of cool.
I thought it was cool. I just went on YouTube and like one of the suggested videos had the thumbnail and it was David Selby, and I was like, oh my god, I love him.
I love that guy. Yeah, he's in the original as Barnabas's something. I forget if they're cousins or what, but he comes along eventually. He's on for like a year or two, the last 2 years of Dark Shadows, I think.
And I might be wrong, but he also might be in one of the movies.
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay.
He's in Night of Dark Shadows,
Okay.
I believe. Yeah.
Those will confuse me because like I know some of them have the Barnabas from the TV show, from the soap opera in it. And
Hmm.
I'm like, do they just keep retelling the same story over and over with the same actor?
Yeah, I don't know how the series and the movies go. I know the movies were two separate things. Like House of Dark Shadows is specifically Barnabas, like
Hmm.
the vampire storyline,
Hmm.
and then Night of Dark Shadows is the witch storyline, Lara Parker.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe they made them to close out those chapters, but although in those movies, the characters that the people in the movies played aren't the same characters in the movies. That makes sense.
No, that doesn't make sense to me. Wait.
So Kate Jackson, one of my angels, Kate Jackson was in Night of Dark Shadows. She
Okay.
was in the original series as Daphne,
Okay.
but she's not Daphne in
The
the
movie.
movie.
Okay.
And David Selby's in Night of Dark Shadows, and in the show he's like a werewolf, and he's like whatever different cat. I forget his name in that, but in the movie he's not that guy. Like they're different
Oh.
people.
Yeah,
So they
because
use the same people to tell different stories. I don't understand why, but
yeah,
but I'm sure we can find some reason
well,
eventually.
because I don't think. the movies are supposed to be connected to the show at all.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think
That's
they were just kind of like individual stories because the series was so popular.
That's why with like House of Dark Shadows, the vampire one, I haven't seen it, but I'm like, so they're basically just retelling the story with the same actor.
Right.
So I'm
And
like,
then if the series was so popular, why didn't they bring it back? Like that's what like
right?
instead they made two feature films and put them in the movies, but they didn't bring back the series. I don't know.
Yeah.
Very weird.
Hmm.
But look at it. It has a cult following. It's still being talked about. We're talking about it. Like Dark Shadows is still out there. Everybody loves it. There's cons that people go to, Dark Shadow cons apparently.
There's,
Like there's
I
hmm?
think I read on the Wikipedia that there was even like almost like an audio revival.
There is. There's my friend Karen listens to the audios. They
With
David Selby's a part of them.
yeah, I was gonna say with some of the original actors.
Lara Parker, the girl who played wait, I forget. The one actress is still alive too, and can't remember who she played, but anyway, she's a part of it too. Yeah, it's really cool. It's still out there, and it's been what since it went off in '71.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So this was literally 20 years after the original show ended.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
I wonder if that was planned. Like, let's just release it on during the 20th.
Well, from what I read, they wanted Dan Curtis, who I guess created the original Dark Shadows.
Hmm.
They wanted him to do another Dark Shadows in the '80s, and apparently he didn't want to. I guess he was like one and done. Like that was my past, whatever. But then they convinced him, and that's what this series is. So he did like the first 4 episodes, I think, wrote them, directed them, all that stuff. Got it kicked off, and then I think he stopped now.
Hmm.
But we'll see.
All right.
But I'm
Well,
glad he did because it's a great show.
well, buckle up because we're about to enter Dark Shadows boot camp. We are going to be pretty much every other day. We're going to be covering 2 episodes at a time.
Yeah,
We're going to try and get as much of the series out before the end of October.
I think we have 8 left. Yeah,
Three,
I think
yeah, 8 or 9. Just
8 or 9.
yeah. So, and it's all going to culminate in we're probably going to do a live stream on a Halloween night. So,
Yeah.
but as always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Taupes, and see you in a couple of nights, I guess, for a couple more episodes of Dark Shadows. Bye.
Bye, peeps. Bye.